The Israeli military says it has shot down a ballistic missile which was launched from Yemen before it crossed into Israeli territory. It's another suspected attack by the Iran-backed Houthis and comes as Israel has set out its case to the UN Security Council for a full assault on Houthi forces in Yemen. For more, I'm joined now by Middle East analyst Professor Amin Saikal. Good morning and welcome to the program. Can you just step us through this incident that we're reporting on this morning?
Well, the Houthis have been operating in solidarity with Hamas in the Gaza Strip, for a long time. But it has the tension between Houthis and the Israelis have escalated over the last month in particular. The Houthis have fired a number of cruise missiles, which have not really caused any massive casualties in Israel, but has caused some damage. And of course, the Israelis feel very much insecure in relation to Houthis' operations. And also, the Houthis have been trying to block any ships bound for Israel through the Red Sea. And that has had not only regional, but also international implications. And now it's come to the point that Israel wants to launch a massive offensive against the Houthis, but to do so, it also wants to secure some support from the United Nations Security Council, but it's very doubtful that that sort of support would come its way, although the United States and some of its allies on the Security Council would support Israeli operations, but I think Russia and China will be very hesitant to provide any carte blanche to Israel to do against in Yemen, as it's done, for example, in Gaza, or for that matter, the damage that is really caused to the Hezbollah in Lebanon, and also what Israel is now really doing in Syria.
Professor, is this seen really as a continuation of that conflict that we've been seeing between these countries, or is this now, in fact, an escalation, given that it was a ballistic missile that was used?
Well, it is a continuation and also at the same time escalation. Of course, if Israel had agreed to a ceasefire in Gaza, probably this conflict would have come to an end. And I don't think that the Houthis would have been willing to target Israel, or for that matter, Hezbollah would have been willing to continue its operations against Israel. But the fact that the ceasefire still has not really come into existence in Gaza, and the devastation continues in Gaza, and the Houthis have said that they will continue their operations against Israel. So I think there is a danger of this conflict escalating and reaching to the point that could be very dangerous, not only for Yemen, which is one of the poorest countries in the region, but also it could cause more damage to Israel and to the shipping in the Red Sea, which could have more international economic implications.
And I'm curious to get your insights into what's happening in Yemen, particularly the political situation there. But as you've just touched on, what is the circumstances for regular people there as well?
Well, I mean, as I said, it's one of the poorest countries in the region, and of course, Yemen has been experiencing conflict over a long period of time. The Houthis control part of Yemen, including Sana'a, the capital, but not all of Yemen, and Saudi Arabia formed an Arab coalition which has been attacking Houthis in the past, although things have really calmed down, but there has been also the hostilities between the Houthis and the Saudis, as well as some of the other Arab countries which have joined Saudi Arabia in the past. And of course, the fear of the Saudis and their allies is that the Houthis are sort of a proxy for Iran and is supported by Iran, although the relations between Iran and Saudi Arabia have lately improved. Nonetheless, some of the foundations of the rivalry between the two sides still exist.
And you touched on that move, or the progression of that move in the UN Security Council for a full assault on Houthi forces in Yemen. Where is that at, and what do you expect to see happen there?
I think Israel would be willing to use its air power and, of course, its missile power to weaken the Houthis and possibly carry out extensive bombardment of the civilian and military targets. I mean, it has already targeted the Sanos International Airport as well as the Yemeni ports and power stations. This is something that Israel had done and extensively in Gaza and also in Lebanon, and would like to really be in a position to do the same to Yemen. But whether that is really going to necessarily deter the Yemenis from discontinuing their support for the Hamas and the people of Gaza, and for that matter, for the Palestinian cause in general, I mean, that remains to be seen.
Middle East analyst Professor Amin Sakal, thank you so much for your time and your insights this morning.
My pleasure.